Hello, welcome back to today's episode of 3D Drawing for Model Railway. Today what we're going to look at is continuing with the PUM module. I'm going to start looking at drawing the wheel sets and the mounting points. Now the interesting thing that when I was looking through these is the mounting points seem to be different depending on which PUM you're looking at. So here we can see underneath the fuel tank we've got like this triangle mounting point. Again, same on this side, which is the fuel tank side. If we look at this one in front, this one has like an I-beam. This one's got an I-beam. This is on the other end, but you can see that shape on this end isn't big enough for the triangular part either. Again, the triangular one on the engine side, not the fuel tank side. And then if we look at this one, you can see it's got an I-beam at the engine end and a triangle one on this side. This has got an I-beam at the same end as the fuel tank, so that's completely different to this one, and then the triangles at the other end. I'm not entirely sure why. I'm assuming that the chassis doesn't turn round, but it might do. It doesn't look like it does, so I'm not quite entirely sure what's going on there. Essentially, I think I'm going to draw it one with on one end on the fuel tank end with the triangular piece, and then an I-beam on the other end. But yeah, I can't seem to fathom out why it would be different depending on which one you're looking at. Okay, so I'm going to start with the wheels first. Now we know Engage track is 9mm wide, and I've measured wheel sets. Obviously they're 8.6 from the inside of the flange. So I'm thinking if I do a similar sort of thing, if I find the midpoint construction plane, which I think is that one. Yes, it is. And then if we do an offset plane from there, offset plane from that, and if we come out by 4.25, then our wheel set should be able to fit on the inside of a piece of track. Let's check the position. So that's sort of at the end of the engine module, which doesn't look too far off, if I'm honest. So we'll go with that position there, and we'll draw a sketch on that face, which will be for the wheel itself. Let's move this down. And we want canvas on. You can see the position of the wheel there. And we'll find roughly the midpoint of that wheel and drag it out. So the wheel's about 2mm. Now, canvas off. Select that inside of the wheel. I'm going to extrude that. So if we have that canvas on, you can see it probably needs to be out a little bit more, but the joys of modelling, I'll go for 1mm there. Actually, I might go a little bit more, 1.5mm. That brings it roughly in line with the front. Which is probably going to give us a similar sort of size to a normal engaged wheel, if I'm honest. So we'll create that circle there as 1.5, and then on the inside face of that, I'm going to draw another sketch on there. I'm drawing the inside face of that wheel, and we're just going to draw what would be the flange. We have 2.6mm. It probably looks close to where we are there. Select those two profiles. I'm going to extrude that inwards slightly. If we go 0.5 mil, it's probably going to be okay. Click on OK. So that's our wheel set. what I'm going to do is just hollow out a little bit on the inside, I think. So create a sketch on there, do an offset from that inside face. Becoming 0.3, minus 0.3. Select that inside profile and just make it look a little bit hollow inside. I'm going to come back to 0.7 millimeters. Okay, so the next thing we need is this triangle piece. It's got a little plate coming out the bottom. So I'm going to go create a sketch on the front face of the wheel. I'm going to use a line and project on that top surface there. I'm going to use the line tool. So all I've done there is just drawn around that shape. It doesn't look too far off, if I'm honest. The back of this is touching the wheel yet. And we'll just close that off by drawing a line across the top. So we've got that profile there. We select all of those. And extrude that. I'm going to do a millimetre. It's not particularly thick, but I want a bit of strength there. And I've got a little plate that comes across the wheel. Again, draw another sketch on that front surface. Actually, let's do a line tool. You snap to this corner here where they join, and we'll do it a bit of an angle. Okay, what I'm going to do is just going to fix this one in position, and same with that one. And then I'm going to use perpendicular tool to make sure those two, that corner there is perpendicular. And I'm going to constrain that to that top line there. And I need to close off. There we go, so we've got the rectangle in the middle there. Bring this forward. I'm not going to come forward the same millimetre. I'm going to go maybe 0.6. Let's join. And then I'm going to draw a sketch on the front surface. Put a circle in there. Find the midpoint of this wheel circle. You see it automatically projects it in there. Let's go for 0.4 millimetres. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and move this rectangle in a minute. Join, I'm going to do two sides. I'm going to pull that forward. So 0.3. I'm going to take that back into the wheel here, just so it's touching the wheel. Okay, I said I was going to go back and join, edit in this sketch here, and what I'm going to do, so that's already constrained. Let's define length of that. I'll do 0.9 in the length. Define the length of that. So the self-define is at 0.91 millimeters, and then the height 0.65. The circle's not the centre of that beam, but you're not going to notice it, and all that essentially is doing is acting as the mock bearing and then adding some support into the wheel. I'm sort of semi-tempted to make the flange a bit bigger so it catches the top of the chassis here. Yeah, I think I might do that actually. Let's edit that sketch. Okay, so we'll make the flange 3mm just so that it catches on the top of the chassis, which will help give that a little bit of extra support on the wheel itself. No, let's change that. Let's go back to 2.6 CAD on there. If we now put a mid-plane front of the wheel and the back of the wheel, we can mirror across those three features onto the back of the wheel. That will then add the support there that we're thinking about anyhow. Okay, so now looking at this, there's a little circle here and a bracket on it. So if we just add that detail on, so drawing on this front surface, little circles up in this sort of position here. Difficult to say exactly where. I'm going to go for like there, so 0.4mm. Find the height from the top edge, 0.55, and the distance from the side edge, we'll go for 0.65. Now we'll just bring that forward, so 0.2mm. Then there's this bracket here. So again, we draw a sketch on that front surface and use the 3-point rectangle. So from there to there, down. If we do perpendicular those two lines, then they'll be perpendicular to each other, essentially 90 degrees. To find the width, 0.4mm, and the height, 0.7. Find the distance to that angle corner there, 0.8mm. Again, 1.8mm. And we'll do the height of this point here to the height of this bottom rail, 0.4. Select those two profiles, and again we're just going to come out by 0.2. Make sure that joins. Just going to check to make sure we've got no extra bodies appearing here. Body 26, that's fine, that's the engine. That one there. I've just gone back in the history, changing a little circle to join. That's all not connected. So I'm not worried about transferring those details to the inside because you're not going to see them. Just turn all this off so it's clean and you can see what we're looking at. Okay, there's a small little upright on the end here. I'm just going to add that on. So just get a sketch on this front face. It's just a small rectangle I'm going to draw. We define from the edge 0.1mm. I'm going to give it a width of 0.2mm. Height's constrained top and bottom. I'm just going to extrude this out to 0.2mm. Just gives a little bit more relief around that part. Okay, and then What I'm going to do is to finish off this wheel is I'm just going to mirror this whole lot over. So it's going to be all of this lot. So it's to select mirror features. I'm going to select, holding shift down when I pick all these up. All these features that we've just done. And then the mirror plane, I'm going to use that mid plane that we were using, and then we should have that both sides there. See how it's done this weird triangular stuff? It's just a glitch on the PC. I've just gone backwards and forwards, and that's fixed that. Okay, that's those done. This could be an issue. Yeah. So the inside of the wheel is just floating on both of these. So I need to find a way of filling that in, really. Let's have a look on the canvas. I think what I'm going to do with those, if I hide that body, I'm just going to draw some rectangles on top of this that connect into the chassis legs here. So if we create a rectangle on top there, we're going to actually project that frame on first, and then do a rectangle. And it's just going to be the same width as that. Select those features and extrude. It's going to extrude it to the top of the frame. So join, and we're going to mirror that over. And that's center plane. Okay, there's an extra couple of bodies in here. We just go back to that feature, check it back to join, that should fix that. Okay, now fix that. The yellow warning is because the body numbers have changed. We're just going back and edit the feature, fixes that all up. So this is going to be an extra beam that we're not going to have on the original model, but we need to do something to support this really. And ultimately you're not going to really notice it too much. Okay, so let's make a start on the wheel on the other end now. And what we're going to do for that is, I think we've got a mid-plane. Just find those. Possibly plane 3. I can't remember, so what I'm going to do is just make it easy myself. I'm going to add another mid-plane in here from end face on the chassis to the other end. What I should do really, if I just rename that. Chassis mid, then we know that that's going to work there. Okay, and I'm then going to mirror. Got to find all the wheel parts now, so it's this way on that one, that extrusion internally. So those 3 there, which are the 3 parts of the wheel. The mid-plane I'm going to select as the chassis mid-plane, and that puts it to the other end. Don't know why that was hidden then. And we've got to draw the I-beam, which is going to go on the front of the wheel itself. So again, picking the front surface of the wheel, turn that canvas on, we can see rectangle, and in fact before we do that, project on, let's pick up all this line here, rectangle, and I'm going to snap. I'm not sure I don't want that triangle at the mid-plane there, the midpoint, sorry, don't want that constraint. I'm going to come across, let's define this, so the 0.15 on that edge, width, actually, what I'll do is, if we actually undo that, according to this picture here, that looks like it hangs out the front. I think so. I'm going to draw that myself. So snap there, like that. And then on the rear of it comes the edge of the wheel here. So let's define from the edge of the chassis to the inside point. I'm going to go for 2.2 millimeters. Then this edge won't move. And I'm going to define this. I'm going to go 0.3. That's not going to affect how far that moves there. Height, I'll go for 1 millimeter just for ease. What part are you not defined now? That's defined, that's defined, that's defined. So why aren't you snapping? Why is it not constrained? I'm trying to work that out there. So I've got the height here is defined from that chassis rail. The only thing I can think of is maybe the width, but that's all it was, weirdly. That and that should have defined that. Never mind. So I've got 2.5 on the width. Let's select those three, extrude them to the front of the chassis. It's coming 1 point. Let's actually take that back just to 1 millimeter, so it's not quite at the front. And we're going to draw two rectangles on that front surface because we've got a smaller one on the inside and a larger one on the outside here. Rectangle like that and like that. Okay, so let's define the distance between those two. 0.2. Let's not that one. Vertically, horizontally constrain that point with that point and that point and that point. So these two have to move in unison now. Define the height there. I'll go for 0.2. Oops. And get the one at the bottom there. And go 0.2 on that. On that side. And the same on this side. And we'll define that. And that's all snapped in okay. What we can do is make that 1 millimeter. Actually, I'm going to go more than that. 1.1. So I've got the smaller rectangle on the inside of the unit, which is this one, and the larger on the outside. Select those two profiles, and then we'll just take that back into the rail there, 0.5, do a cut, so we've got the recessed area. Okay, and then we've got small part that comes down and just holds the centre point of the chassis. So I'm going to draw on that front surface of the wheel again. I'm going to draw the circle. There's the point there is. It's going to 0.4. And then we're going to extrude that two sides. Inside is going to go to that back surface, and the front is going to come forwards 0.5. Tell that to join. Draw again on that front surface of the wheel. I'm going to draw a circle bigger than that, so we're going to come 0.8, and then a couple of lines that are going to go from projecting on this top line, the top edge here. We'll draw a line from the circle down, and the same from that circle up. And if I do tangent on that line to that circle, and then perpendicular from that edge to that line, that edge to that line, they're all snapped and locked into position. I can then extrude that come forward 0.3, tell it to join. It gives us that arced part coming round to hold the wheel in place. And then what we'll do is we'll just mirror this onto the rear. Mirror. These features here. So those four features, we'll mirror those. I think it was plane 10. Put some on the back side of the wheel. They are attached to this now, so that's going to give that extra strength on the top. And then we can mirror all of that lot, so those four and that mirror. Mirror that across plane 2, which puts it onto the other side. Turn the body back on, there we go. Okay, so I think I'm going to end this video at this point here. We've got all the wheel sets drawn there. They may need a little bit more detail as we go along, but I think that's given us a good basic to start with those wheels. I actually think they look pretty decent actually. The time we've printed and painted this, I don't think you're going to need overly detailed, especially an N-gauge. But happy with those. So thanks for watching, and hope you've enjoyed the episode.